Doing well. Thanks for having me, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. For those of you who don't know, Andrew was my first hire at Finn when I was uh, director of partner experience. Um, and it was exciting because usually I bet I've hired probably 35 to 40 people. And Andrew was the first that I just got off of like a LinkedIn reach out. So reach out, outreach.
Yeah, LinkedIn outreach, application, all the above. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of the perfect fit, at least for me. So
So it was fun because I think you were like employee number. Do you know your number?
16, 17, somewhere in there, I want to
Yeah,
say.
I was 8.
Okay.
So being able to expand the team was great. And it's the first time that you've joined a startup. What was your experience like coming onto the team?
Yeah, it was good. It was so yeah, I joined, I guess I'm 3.5 years in now. So like April of 23. And so um it was very, I mean, it was very a good opportunity to do a lot of different things, which I was not accustomed to at other companies that I worked for that were like non-startups, and like
Yeah.
it was cool that I got to do obviously what I was hired for by you, which is kind of a customer success CSM type of role, but then also we did tier one support, knowledge base, documentation, content for YouTube, which I still do obviously. So that was really cool to get so much different, a wide array of experience, which at a lot of larger companies, non-startups is not really an option. It's very, here's your swim lanes and go do the work. But that was the case with Finn. It was great to do so many cool, fun things. So
Yeah. So you talked about knowledge base, writing content, recording content, a lot of education for our end users. Even making, oh gosh, just short tutorial videos for our knowledge base so people aren't only reading it, they could see it. So trying to hit all those learning styles. Onboarding, which I was so happy you were here. It's the one thing that I was like, Andrew, do the more technical stuff. Um, Now that the team has grown, you said like a more mature company, well, not mature, but older, larger organization, you've
yeah.
got your swim lanes.
Mhm.
Your lane was like this. What's it like now?
It's similar. I think one of the fun parts, and one of the things you have to have at a startup is like that adaptability mentality, I feel, where my role changed,
Mhm.
kind of a year and a half, 2 years in. So it was, like you said, onboarding our customers, our partners that we work with post sale, which was good. But we identified that onboarding is working really well. Let's get ahead of it and do it in the pre-sales process, which is where I spend a lot of time now, is demos and doing onboarding in the pre-sales environment to get a better proof of concept for people, yeah, trying out Fin, our prospects. So that's been a big shift, and it's been great. I, fully, kind of, I feel like it was a very warranted adjustment,
Yeah.
and that's key. Like with any startup, right? I feel like you have to adjust to what's working, what the market dictates, what your customers dictate, and so that's something that I feel has been a good change, but a change nonetheless.
Yeah. I want to say the catalyst for that is I was running a report, and it's like people who actually met with an onboarding specialist. I thought I was running the report incorrectly because at that time, one of my KPIs was churn.
Mm.
And I could not find a partner that left us if they went through an onboarding. Like, I compare it to like I could tell you to drive from here to Los Angeles without a map, and you would probably drive in the right direction and you would eventually get there, but you might have some frustration along the way.
Mm.
Or we can just say, here's the map. This is how you onboard. We've got shared campaigns. You can onboard, I think the case study I just did, Um, they onboarded 57 tenants, 3,200 users within 4 hours of having access to the platform.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's like, you just make it easy for them, and you're just a great resource. But yeah, because we identified that people didn't churn and you were working post sale, it's like, okay, if they're doing a free trial, why don't they're already a partner in our mind? They haven't made a commitment yet, but we know that we're going to help them. And so that shift was important. How big of a role, I would say, like personality wise, is flexibility in a startup?
Huge. I mean, huge. The reasons that I just mentioned, someone's role could change. My role changed. Adam's changed as well.
Mine
Um,
changed.
yours changed exactly. Yeah, everyone's right. So like, that's not only for like your role, but I think for just on a day-to-day basis, right? Like flexibility. Like we're constantly trying to try new things. And I know that I've worked at companies that are a little bit more established that those metrics or goals, they don't change quite as much. They're a little bit more set in, we're going to do this a very specific way and accomplish it. And so that's been really important to have. And
Hmm.
not only for, roles, metrics, but also just there are a lot of complex problems that pop up, and this obviously, and that we're aware of, and you have to be flexible and make changes on the fly and produce creative ideas for them. And then there's also problems that we don't even know exist yet
Hmm.
that we're trying to prepare for and kind of be adaptable, like I said earlier. So that's up there with some of the top qualities I'd say for you know working at the CAS of an early stage startup.
Yeah. How important is it, as we've developed integrations with PSAs and other things, how important is it to listen to the partners?
It's huge, especially that early stage where we're at, right? And like I think back to when we had early on the first year that I was here, that partner advisory council, right? When we would meet with any partners that want to meet with us. I think it was monthly or maybe every other week at the time, something like that.
Hmm.
And just hear, would you like this feature? How would it impact your business? How would it help you or would it not? And so that's been huge. And not only in that type of setting, but even just, myself and Adam and our sales team, obviously, as well, just meeting with our partners, prospects, getting their feedback. It's really helpful to have that. And then making sure that, as we're reporting it, we can kind of prioritize, or I guess help our product and engineering team prioritize what we've heard the most,
Yeah.
what we think would make the most impact, and then obviously that's up to them. But we're kind of a lot of times the funnel for that, so it's a huge part of it.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that I've always been impressed with our engineering and product team is how much they meet with partners while they're building something,
Yeah,
because we're building it for them. So, like, who better to talk to than the people that want, the product, and that they can tell us, like, this part's not very important, and we can shift our energy into what's going to help them.
absolutely. And like the great thing about working at Finn is like our partners have been super receptive to that, and
Hmm.
like just giving their time to run us, show them a proof of concept, or even like earlier stages, just run questions by them. Would this be
Hmm.
valuable? How would you use this? So I mean, the buy-in from partners is super helpful, and we get a lot of really good feedback, not only with those types of meetings, but just on a regular basis of like how they're using, you mentioned PSAs, how they're using those other
Yeah.
tools, how they could impact Fin, how they could leverage Fin with those other tools in their security stack and outside of that. So that's been also very eye-opening, and it's something that uh, I think we're lucky to identify some of those early, like you mentioned, ConnectWise and a PSA and stuff like that. And we'll, I think, continue to just kind of build on those types of conversations, the more things that we build in the future. So.
Yeah, I think that's really important. You mentioned that we did have a partner advisory committee, and moving from that to having our FIN meetings.
Mhm.
FIN stands for Partner Health Insights and News, and similar to like a QBR. meeting with partners on a regular cadence is so important. And it just shows that we're going to take that feedback. We now have a feature request board where
Mhm.
partners can, I believe they can upvote ideas
Yeah,
as well. So like go on there and see what's important to you and let your voice be heard so that we know we're building something that's important, impactful, and will make a difference for the partners. I
absolutely.
think that's really, really huge. Um,
Absolutely.
was there any, I don't know, was there anything that stood out or things that have happened that you're like, this will only happen at a startup?
Um, I think the biggest thing that stands out, and I already alluded to this earlier, is just the amount of hats you can wear,
Hmm.
which usually does only happen, or I guess majority of the time it only happens at a startup, where I kind of had to put on my tier one support hat for a while, right? And kind of get into that mindset of, okay, we're doing this for the time being. But that's just again what the business dictated, what our customers dictated that needed to happen. Um,
Hmm.
and so, but again, I think, some people could view that as a negative. I think it was really valuable to see not only a lot of different things that my teammates are doing, but also give really good experience for me having that knowledge and understanding of
Hmm.
how, someone on our support team would go about a ticket. What are the steps to resolve that? How are they doing it? So then when I'm not doing that, I can have that knowledge and um, assist where I can and really have a good understanding of what they're doing. So uh, that's, I think, the biggest thing that stands out. And again, it was unexpected, but I think it was a good surprise.
Yeah.
I get to have a lot of cool experiences, and obviously, you've been great with allowing me to do things like produce content, YouTube content, and stuff like that. Is stuff that I would have never done, not at a startup. And even just being here, right? Like, being on things like this have really been a very cool experience that I think a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do as a part of their company. So,
Yeah, no, totally. I don't know if people are aware of this, but the way our knowledge base got built out was by support ticket topics. We'd be
mhm,
like, well, somebody's putting in a support ticket asking us this question. What knowledge base article can we write? And
mhm,
that's how it's gotten to be such a kind of Wikipedia of Finn. So that has, and we still do that today. We're like, okay, we have this new integration with ConnectWise or Autotask or Halo. It's like, what do people need to know? Like, what can they read about? What can they watch Andrew in a tutorial do that helps them understand, how the new product works? Because we know MSPs, they're with customers all day. Sometimes they're not even working on something until like we'll see people 2 in the morning, that are trying to figure things out. So that's been a huge resource for us as well.
mhm. Absolutely, yeah. Security never sleeps, so it's
I hope not.
exactly.
That's funny. What about family wise? Like, has a startup been more demanding? Is it harder to find work life balance with a startup? Anything about that?
Yeah, I'll say this. I think Finn specifically has done a really good job. It's hard to compare like other startups. You obviously hear stories of, I'll throw out Facebook, right, as an example, where they're working an insane amount. There's a documentary
Mhm.
about it, right? And it's nights, weekends, constantly coding and all that stuff. And I think there was probably a time even before you and I that Connor and company were doing a lot of that, right? So
They probably still do.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure, the engineering lift is huge right now. So, yeah, that's a big part of it. And so, but I think we do a really good job of setting expectations for internally, like employees, right? Like here are business hours. We're going to, work during them and we're going to work very efficiently and then provide the work-life balance because we know that someone who's able to recharge is just more efficient later on. So that's super important. And I think we've done a really good job as a company setting those
Hmm.
expectations. So, like for me, I think it's really easy to kind of fall into that, where I'm able to kind of follow suit into, our leaders, having the work-life balance, taking PTO, uh, it's all really important for, not just immediate, uh, I don't know, sleep, if you will, but also just the longevity of it, right? Which has been important and part of the reason, it's been a successful 3.5 years for me here. So,
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. When I was going through some health issues and stuff like that, I remember seeing on an agenda, Connor had put, like, what else can we take off Mary's plate? Like, understanding that honestly, life outside of work is more important than anything,
mhm.
so that was really huge. And everybody was such a, big help. You get time to tailgate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If
As you can
people,
see.
yeah. So that's really cool. Well, it's been great hearing your story. I really appreciate you being here. It's been a fun topic. And life of a startup is crazy. Buckle up. I feel like every morning when I get up, like I run like a sprint until, the end of the day. There's just so much to do.
Mhm.
But
And that's the great thing. So many things you can do, like so
yeah,
many great opportunities where, we're not just data entry
right.
people, right? We're doing so many more really fun and exciting things, and get to do it with some really interesting partners that love to tell us how great Finn is. So it's been really positive so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Thursday. Well,
So
not Andrew next Thursday. You'll see me next Thursday. But follow Andrew on LinkedIn. Find him, Andrew Marsh. He works at Finn. Thanks, everyone.